Here we have the lovely Councillor Helen Ogbu, OGBU. She's a Nigerian-born politician, community activist. Apparently she made significant contributions to Galway's civic life. Right? She arrived here in 2005, fleeing threats related to her husband's political activities in Nigeria. That interesting? Tragically, her husband was murdered due to his pursuit of political change in his home country. When she arrived here, her and her daughter spent 3 years in Eglinton Direct Provision Centre in Salt Hill. Despite the challenges of leaving behind a master's degree in history and diplomacy and a career in Nigerian diplomatic circles, she pursued further education in Ireland. She completed a PLC course, followed by a Master's in Family Support at the National University of Galway. These universities, man. These universities are just rolling these people out. I'm telling you, it's like the Frankfurt Institute. We have our very own Frankfurt Institute, and it's all the universities in Ireland, rolling out all these social justice warriors and stuff, right? Miss Ogbu has been deeply involved in the community activism for over 17 years. She has volunteered with numerous organisations, including Galway Refugee Support, where she served as chair, the Galway Volunteer Centre, ARD Family Resource Centre, and the Galway Rape Crisis Centre since 2008. She has also been a foster carer to over 30 children. Well, fair play to you fostering children, but I'd be seriously, I'd be wanting to, because I did dig, and corruption wise, it's well hidden around this woman. But the thing about her husband is interesting, isn't it? Anyway, here she is on Saturday with Colin O'Bannon. Have a listen to this, and I'll do my breakdown.
Hello again, and I'm going to move to now to your own brief, Colin Brophy, as Minister of State for Migration. There's been a few high-profile commentaries on what's going on in this country in relation to immigration in the last few weeks. There were the remarks by Conor McGregor in the White House, which were widely condemned. There was also the controversy over the video put out on social media by comedian and musician Garen Noon. Well, I've been speaking on the issue of migration.
No. Right, I'm not starting again. The Garen Noon thing, yeah. I know I mentioned him, and he came out and said all that stuff, but he's since come out now, since then, activated all his things again, activated all his accounts, and apologised, and start going on a rant about the far right and the racists. Huh? There you go. So he was like I'd say he was there to take some of the attention away from the McGregor saga. This is what I'm saying. It's like a lie to cover up a lie to cover up a lie. They have to just keep lying and lying and lying, and eventually it's just going to implode. Maybe when five of these guys go on a mad one in a shopping centre somewhere with machine guns, maybe then, huh?
And how it's being debated to Helen Ogbu. She's a Labour Party councillor in Galway East. She is Nigerian by birth, but she came to Ireland in 2004 and lived in direct provision for a number of years. Let's have a listen to what we spoke to her about. I began by asking her about what she made of the debate here.
Well, thank you so much, Colin. I just feel like there's a misconception about the word migrants. Most times people here in Ireland, they hear the word migrant, they just attach it to asylum seekers. And like I always say, there are different strands of migrants. There are people who come in here for international protection, and they are the ones that are tagged asylum seekers. And there are people who come here as on the critical skills employment permit. And those are people who actually are coming to Ireland to take up specialist positions that Irish-born cannot fill. And we also have students as well. And most times when we talk about migrants, we think...
What do you think she meant by that? Special positions that the Irish can't fill. What do you think she meant by that? You know, I think that's like a. She felt like that was a bleeding stab. That's a stab at the Irish. That is, you know. Anyway, continue.
Think about people that are non-EU, but we also have EU migrants who are coming over to Ireland for the purposes of work. So I think there needs to be a better understanding or a better knowledge or training around what the word migrant means.
And what do you
Say that? She wants the Irish people now to be trained. She wants us trained on specifically what the word migrant means. Huh? These people, I swear to God, they won't be happy until they destroy our lovely land.
do you think the effect is socially of people understanding migrant to mean asylum seeker and basically lumping all non-European immigrants into that bracket?
Well, I think what it's doing is causing confusion, a lot of confusion. People need to understand, like, we're having more like a social division, and it's widening the social gap, and it's causing a lot of fear. They have that fear of being terrorized. So I would say the social divide is huge. I would call it a new form of terrorism, you know, because people are in fear. They don't feel safe.
When you're dealing with people who approach you in fear, have you noticed a particular gender divide in that? Are young migrant males?
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. And like they try, squeeze as much as they can in. Do you think it's a male thing? Do you think it's a female thing? And she made a point there about it's creating social divide. That's why I keep telling everyone. That's the whole purpose of it. That's what they want. They want the social divide. Because what that does is it keeps us, the people, right? Because, yeah, you might have different views about all these people coming in. They're humans, though, so we're all humans. But what they're doing is they're putting human against human. Well, the politicians just sit there and laugh at us, man. That's the whole point. That's why I keep trying to drill into everyone. The cognitive warfare, that's what it's all about. That's their new weapon, is the cognitive warfare. Two conflicting bits of information being fed out constantly. Like, for instance, how recently Micheál Martin said his first name, but anyway, how Mr. Martin said most of them that are coming in are economic migrants. He said that. But at the same time, they're silencing anyone that has an opposing view against them. Surely him saying what we've been saying has some sort of merit, It does have merit because it's the truth. Most of them are economic migrants. Most of them are coming over here and bleeding the system dry, So it's the cognitive warfare. Feed people with two conflicting messages and just let them fight amongst themselves.
Do they feel they're more targeted as a result of what's been discussed online, or is it pretty much across the board amongst people who have migrated to Ireland?
I think it's across the board, but most times you find out that the younger ones, and you see, there are people who were born here, born to migrant parents, but they are not migrants. They are actually Irish born. And I think
Now, she says a very important point there. You all know I've got a bit of tan in me because my father's from Pakistan, right? I've said this story before. But I think what makes me different, and there are a few of us, like your man Dylan. I don't know, maybe the NGOs got to him because he sort of flip-flopped a little bit. But his first videos that he was making was highlighting this, that he was highlighting the mass migration coming in, He was talking about the topics that we were talking about that would affect Ireland, like I do. Difference with me is, my outfit was a waster. Didn't even stick around until I was born, right? So all I know is Ireland. I was raised by a family 100% Irish, So in my head, in my mind, I'm Irish. My blood flows through my veins. I'm speaking up for Ireland because I love her. And I told you before, I die for Ireland to protect her. We need to protect her because she's been fucking invaded. And she's gonna try tie it in now that all of those people, some of them might, don't get me wrong, and some of you have the view that, fuck it, just throw them all out, throw them fucking all out. If they're not like 100%, that's like, eco-nationalist kind of way of thinking, you know? Like Aryan blood and all that sort of stuff, you know? That's that kind of way of thinking. Which I'm not myself. I'm not. But I have to call out, I have to speak up about this because it's mass migration of unvetted males from Africa and the Middle East. Hell, even South Americans are coming over. There's Brazilians, unvetted Brazilians, you know? And why are they all males? What's that about? You think maybe they want all the males in so they can just all go and procreate, you know, that way? That's what I'm thinking now. They want all, and you'll have all the sad. I'm going to try not to use left and right anymore. I'm just going to say NPCs, NGOs, right? For that side, right? I reckon that most of them would go out with these people coming in and would have a child with them. So it's like a slow ethnic cleansing in a way. Do you get me? That's exactly what's going on here in Ireland. And same thing in France, same thing in Sweden. You have seen them countries. Italy, Spain, I could go on. The whole of Europe is getting riddled with them.
I think those are the new group of people, the new set that are being targeted. And those are the ones that are being profiled. So those are the ones we should be concerned about because they were born here. They are maybe in their late 20s, born here, Irish, this is home. They are the ones that are being constantly targeted.
Do they feel protected in what is their own country?
Well, they see this as a country, but you find out that most of them are leaving Ireland.
Really?
Yeah, a lot of them are leaving Ireland because they feel that they are not accepted. I'm a research student and in the University of Galway. So my research is based on a narrative of growing up in Ireland and is focused on young people of migrant origin.
And do you mean young?
How would she know what it's like? She's only here since 2005. How would she know what it's like? She doesn't. She hasn't got a clue what she's talking about. The universities are rolling these people out like crazy. Filling their... No, they probably don't even need that much convincing. They're just told, yeah, come over and we'll give you a cushy job, you know? Or we'll give you a roof over your head and the free electric scooters, free bikes, free bus travel, free money. Go into Moore Street and you can wank in front of an Irish girl down to work. No bother, we'll cover for you. We'll cover for you.
Young people of colour in that, you know.
Yeah, of African descent, yeah.
People of African descent are...
Oh, see that? Only African descent. That's the only people she's dealing with. So the people from the Middle East now, only African descent.
Yeah.
Are likely or express a wish to leave Ireland because they feel they're not accepted, is it?
Yes, they feel that it's that thing around belonging and acceptance. Most of them are talented, well skilled, well educated, but then they're moving. So what?
Well, then, if they're most skilled and educated, why don't they go back and build up their own economy in their own country? Make that country better for their own people, you know? And we can make Ireland better for Irish people.
What do we need to do about it? And that comes back to this narrative, this discussion, open discussion that we're talking about. It's due to lack of proper knowledge. And sorry, Colum, I would say I always say the media has a role to play as well.
And is that where you think this debate, this conversation...
Very important. She got that in there as well with the media. I've told you about media and why they took the name media. Yeah, it was from an ancient goddess from Greece called Medea, Medea. And you know what? She was the goddess of illusion. They sell illusions. That's why they took the name.
This discussion should take place. Is it in the media or are there other forums at community level where this could be facilitated, where people might be able to ask pretty open questions which they may be afraid to ask, and, you know, where people might be able to give answers they're more than happy to give?
Well, it's not only the media. It has to start from the grassroots. It has to start from the community. And it should involve everyone, not just only the migrants on the table, but we should have everyone. And I must say this, the Irish people are the most welcoming.
Yeah, most welcoming. And you fuckers have took advantage of it. That's what they've done. They're laughing at us there.
But it's just a tiny members, just tiny members of the population that we need. And these are
There's 78% of the country. There was a poll done on it. It was 78% of the country that agreed that Ireland was taking too many in. A tiny amount. See the wordplay they do. And she would have been trained up on this wordplay while she was in that university, you know? Like how when I seen a video the other day of one getting caught in a what was she in? Like a Tesco's or something. An African woman, large set, you know? And she's pissing in the inside Tesco's on the floor. And when people start recording her, she goes, "Oh, you're racist," you know? Because they're told, say that, and then, you know, try shame people into not recording you or make them feel bad. It's all wordplay with these. Wordplay, the fuck.
The people who spread this word, this wrong information, this misinformation.
There will be some people who, you know, you may not be able to reach. There are, you know, anti-immigrant theories published online. You probably will never be able to address those kinds of things. But for other communities where they are concerned about the resources in a particular village, be that school places or GPs, you know, what...
Now, this is a part of the cognitive part I'm telling you about. See the way Column's mentioning them things? They're real to us, what he's mentioning. But it's then she comes back and conflicts against it. I bet you. In some form or way. I only watched it to like here. And now we're like here. But let's have a listen. So as we go along, I haven't seen this part, but let's have a listen. See what she says.
Be your own view of those issues that sometimes manifest themselves in protests around, for example, direct provision centres.
It's just like opening up or developing a new area or doing you have to consult with people who are already in that particular community. You can't just take people, a huge number, and you place in a community. You don't know the challenges that they are having. They might be having challenges with school, place like primary school or secondary school. They might not even have GPs. They might have just one GP in that particular community. And so I'm not against people complaining or, you know, but because they have not been consulted. If people are consulted, the communities are consulted, and they engage in discussions with them, I don't think they will be against it. So the government has a role to play in this. The way we go about doing things is what we need to look into. And I think it's high time we start encouraging, supporting the inclusion and the participation. The government are trying, but we should do more. We need to do more.
She's stumbling over her own words, replying to that. First, she's saying the government aren't paying attention, and then she's like, they should be. Do you get what I'm getting with this? It's all wordplay with them, you know. And the way she's kind of trying to softball it. Yeah, well, I wouldn't be surprised if she was smiling while she was saying this. The way she goes, you can't just dump hundreds of people into an area, because that area might be like, you know, mightn't have enough GPs or dentists or, you know, things like this. They mightn't have the schools and blah, blah, blah. Well, that is the truth. That is the truth. But she's trying to softball you with that, you know? This one would love if Ireland turned into the next Africa. She'd love it, she would.
If we need to change the status quo, we need to do more.
And that was Labour councillor Helen Ogbu speaking to me before the programme. Colin Brophy, that issue of consultation, we see protests in Carn and Connemara this week.
And the consultation, I mean, the consultation doesn't matter. Like, the government's still going to push ahead with whatever they're doing, you know? Like Mary Lou said her first name, like Miss Lou said, you don't get to veto who gets put into your area, you know? You don't get a veto. Even though you're an Irish citizen, no, you don't get a veto on who we're putting into your area. We're just going to put whoever we want in. And then they flip on it, you know? Sinn Féin flip on it then, and then they start asking questions. Hang on, are we actually taking too many in? Cognitive warfare, folks.